Trailer, geil.
So.
Der Trailer war geil.
Ja, der Trailer war geil, ja.
Ja. Der Rest weiß ich nicht, aber Trailer.
Der Trailer war gut,
ja. Aber so ein geiler Trailer.
Cool. Ja, wieder nichts zu Fable. Mann.
Ja.
Dafür Outer Worlds 2, da gucken wir mal.
Ja.
Naja.
Und kein Elder Scrolls.
We here at the studio have joked around that this has been the year of Obsidian.
Nächstes Jahr dafür.
Oder
Sommer Game Fest, Baby.
With 2 more games. And what better way to cap this incredible year for us than by doing what
Obwohl ja
our studio does
fairerweise Elder Scrolls wahrscheinlich eher bei den Game Awards kommen
That's
würde.
all right, come in. You can get out of here, Fergus. Thank you so much. No, you're doing great. You nailed it. The sequel is the lifeblood of every great franchise. Think about it. The original creates the world and builds fandom, but the sequel, that's what makes it worth remembering. No sequel, no hoverboard. No sequel, no dual SMGs. No sequel, no raccoon tail. No sequel, no Zune 2. Which doesn't really exist, but I wish it had.
There was a Zune 2.
There was a Zune 2? I'm Mark, the head of sequels here at Obsidian. And I have sequelized everything. Blockbuster movies to AAA video games to my first marriage. So trust me, I know what I'm doing.
My first marriage.
Come along on this journey with me.
Nice.
Part 2.
Okay, nice. Okay, gut.
Das war sympathisch.
Ja.
Let the killing commence.
The Outer Worlds 2 is a sequel to The Outer Worlds 1. It's a continuation of the themes of robber barons in space and how people are controlled by the stories they're told by the people who have power over them. This time we're able to go a lot deeper because we have more time and money, which is a great thing, and we're able to make it a much more true Obsidian reactive RPG than we were the first time around.
Okay. Das sind große Worte.
So we're going deeper and more complex with everything for this sequel. Deeper story, lore, RPG interactions, reactivity, all the things we've been known for as a company. It's really a complete realization of everything people want from an Obsidian game. Surprisingly, this is the first time in over 25 years that I've had the chance to do a full sequel for a world that I helped co-create. It's really just a fantastic opportunity to explore and expand the universe in interesting ways, and to go even further with the themes of how people are affected by living in a dystopian corporate reality.
You can shoot your way through it, you can talk your way through it, you can sneak your way through it. And so no matter what kind of play style that you like, this is just an awesome franchise and an awesome game to jump into, even if it's your first one.
The first Outer Worlds was a great base to start from, as it has all the elements of a great Obsidian RPG. Interesting characters, deep worlds, important choices. In the Outer Worlds 2, not only did we want to double down on those elements, but we wanted to give players even more of it.
We've also put a lot of investment into skills and traits that impact things like combat, conversations, and areas that we call RPG interactions, which are the part of the world where players can use their specific skills, perks, and backgrounds to solve problems in unique ways in our new, bigger worlds.
Hat sehr gut funktioniert.
I love a deep RPG experience, and building out that RPG crunchiness for our players was at the forefront of what we set out to create. We prioritize those deeper RPG options with different character builds and combos so players can express their role-playing power fantasies. We also have different equipment options for different playstyles and different companions with different abilities.
Okay.
In the first Outer Worlds, you start off as the Stranger, which was basically a blank slate to build on top of with various attribute points that would begin to define your personal experience in the game. You can make any kind of character you want, but we've given you a role. That role is an Earth Directorate agent. You can think of them as kind of like space cowboys or space sky marshals.
Ja, ich hätte gern, dass es mir gefällt, der zweite Teil.
Ja, so geht's mir auch. Ich bin immer noch so unsicher.
But we don't tell you why you joined the Earth Directorate. There could have been a lot of different reasons, right? It could have been because you're an actual lawbringer and you want to go in there and spread law throughout the galaxy. It could be that you're a roustabout and you just had nothing better to do.
Von dem,
After you pick your background, one of the really important choices you have next is choosing your traits. While we had attributes in the first Outer Worlds, we've leaned into traits for the Outer Worlds
Das war
too,
nie mal
which
so
are these
schlimm.
big changes to your character depending on which ones you
Das
pick.
ging sogar.
So it could be something like brilliant,
Das
where
war
you can
eher
tag
so.
extra skills and you start getting extra skill points. And that's obviously really great if that's how you want to build your character. You can also go and do something like Lucky, where you get extra critical chance and you also get a lot of really cool options throughout the
Wir
world.
gehen auch
bitte.
aus, ne? Wir gehen, ja,
Of
ja,
course,
wenn
we
ihr
brought
Spaß
back
dran hattet,
dumb.
super geil.
So,
Ich habe Outer Worlds
so
1
players
auch
love the
durchgespielt.
dumb option.
Aber irgendwie,
Tell me, do you believe in
ich hatte so ein bisschen das gleiche Gefühl wie bei Starfield. Es hätte so viel mehr sein können.
Ja.
Das Gefühl hatte ich halt.
quite what I meant, but I like your contempt
Aber wie
for
gesagt, wir
boundaries.
gehen nur von uns
I could
aus.
put your
Wenn ihr
adventure
Spaß dran hattet,
spirit to
sehr
good
gut.
use.
Ja.
And you get like lots of really
Mehr
cool,
Spaß wünsche ich
fun
euch.
conversation options in the game,
Ja.
but we took that even
Ja.
further. And again, there's lots of elements in the game where you can be dumb and use that for something. Could be something as simple as banging on a machine to get it to work.
Okay, Trade Dump. Okay. Schön.
After you've invested in some of your traits, your next choices are going to be choosing your skills. The skills themselves basically allow you to build on your playstyle and what your character is doing in the game.
Aber wenn du den
That will be
Trade wirklich
everything
bekommst,
from
wenn du
playing
wenig
stealthily to
Intelligenz
specking
hast,
for an explosive
automatisch.
specialty.
Sowas finde ich cool. Das gab's ja bei Flaw
das mag
auch,
ich auch
dass du quasi nur so grunzend dumm antworten konntest. Das war toll.
Throughout your entire journey, your
Wie fandet
character
ihr Vault?
continues to change with the
Der
different
Vault habe ich
choices
mit
you make.
Freuden durchgespielt.
In the Outer Worlds 1,
Ich muss-
actually
ich
had
muss mir
more
mal unbedingt
skills than we
angucken.
have. So we condensed them
Ah, es war
down to
cool.
really the core
So,
and
hat schon-
essence
hat schon sehr
of
viel
what we
Spaß
really
gemacht.
wanted there.
Und
But
da
we
hast du so
made each
eine
point you put
Freiheit
into a
auch, so eine
skill much more
Entscheidungsfreiheit,
impactful.
was
So
du
instead
gerade
of getting
meintest,
small
wie du
percentage
die hier wünschen
changes,
würdest.
we actually did
Genau,
much larger
genau.
changes
Und
per
alle
point
deine
you put into each
Entscheidungen
skill. And again, all these things,
sorgen
because of
auch
how they're
für
checked
ein- also
inside the world
am Ende
itself,
haben am Ende
can matter
Gewichtung
quite a
quasi.
bit. You know, just
Auch
even
manche, von
having
denen du gar
one
nicht
additional
weißt.
skill point in something can
Okay.
open up a lot more
Okay.
options in
Ja,
the world itself. If anybody's played Fallout New Vegas, they'll be very familiar with like the perk system. We
Wie lange hast du gebraucht?
basically borrowed that, but went even grander.
vergessen.
We actually have more perks than Fallout New
170
Vegas
Folgen
did.
oder so?
But
Wow.
here's the cool thing,
Okay.
right? We check in
Aber ich
these
hab
perks
alles-
for
ich hab wirklich
literally
alles
everything,
gemacht.
right? So you
Alles.
can do everything from, hey, I want to make a stealthy build that steals stuff and is really good at that. Okay, great. Well, you can take maybe the pickpocketing perk. So that's not available to everybody, but if you select that,
Aber
now
auch
you can actually
170
go
Folgen mit
around and steal
Monologen
things
der
out of
selbst.
people's
Ja, na
pockets.
klar.
Für Entscheidungsfindung.
There's another perk called heavy-handed, right? Where say you're a melee person, what this does is now your power attacks that you use actually knock people down.
Oh man, I really like the serial
Okay, diese
killer
Auswahl der
perk.
Perks zu
As you
zu den
start
eigenen
killing
Builds.
people,
Okay, cool.
they will drop hearts. And you
Oh,
can
was ich an
take
der
those
Vault nicht
hearts,
mochte,
and essentially you're taking
war die
these
Begleiter.
trophies, you could
Oh,
say,
weil?
and it's actually giving you a
Haben die
permanent
geredet?
health bonus every time you
Die
do
haben dir
it.
quasi immer nach dem
We
Maul
have this
geredet.
perk
Also,
called Assassin.
wenn die eine eigene Meinung
Now,
hatte,
this is
hatte
an
das keine
early game
Gewichtung.
perk
War
that you can
egal.
take,
Oh.
which every time you use
Ja.
stealth attack an enemy,
Oh.
you're actually going to get a
Teilweise
movement
passen Sachen
bonus
auch
for a
nicht
certain
zusammen.
amount of time.
Aber naja,
Aber die sind optional zum Mitnehmen. Und auch die Gespräche.
die hat man immer dabei gefühlt.
Oh, okay.
Ja.
Flaws were a system that everybody loved from the first game, but we wanted to make it more personal to the player. We wanted it to really reflect how you were playing the game and give you a bonus that you actually wanted to really engage with.
With the Flaw system returning, we knew we needed to go bigger, better, and more real than ever before. So, we turned to the team. I told them, no bad ideas. Give me what you got. Okay, we need more flaws. We need them to be real. I want to put them in the game, so give me something. Inspiration. What's wrong with you?
Oh, I have bad knees.
You have bad knees. They hurt when you walk a lot?
Yes.
When you walk too much, they hurt?
No cartilage.
Sounds boring. Makes you sound like a boring person, but it's in the game. It's a good flaw. What about you?
I like to take small things sometimes.
So you're stealing.
No, I'm taking.
When do you give them back?
I don't.
Claire. Claire, you shouldn't be stealing. What are you doing? You shouldn't be stealing, Claire.
Tiny crimes.
Tiny crimes? Do you hear the second part, though? It's a crime.
Well,
You're stealing. Claire, that's wrong. You can't steal things, okay? But it's an amazing flaw, and I'm putting it in the game. But you're a bad person. And are you the one that took my stapler?
do you need it?
Yeah. Give it back.
Okay.
Please. You, what do we got? Flaw.
I like to stare at the sun.
How long did you stare at the sun?
Just lunch break.
An hour?
Oh, I only get 30. You guys get an hour?
I get an hour.
In an hour.
Oh. Makes me feel energized.
How many fingers am I holding up?
3?
No. Anything else? We'll put it in the game. We'll put it in the game because I feel bad for you. Anything else?
One of my favorite flaws is something called bad knees. We'll actually give you the option to take this flaw that'll make it so that you move faster throughout the game. But the problem is, anytime you stand up, your knees are going to make a loud popping noise that makes it so that, well, everyone around you is going to hear you.
There's one called Kleptomaniac. This is really interesting because what it does is when you steal something, you can actually sell it for more bits than normal. And like that sounds really great. The drawback is sometimes when you're looking at things in the world that are owned by somebody else, you'll automatically steal them. So you have to be very careful about how you use them.
One of our more wacky perks is the Sun Gazer Flaw. And it just gives everyone cataracts while playing their game. So everything becomes like light shafts and blooms and hazes and makes the game pretty unplayable if you happen to choose that perk.
If you happen to be the type of player that habitually reloads your weapons like I do, well, you'll be offered the flaw of over-prepared. Now, you'll get larger magazine sizes on all of your weapons, but if you ever fully empty your magazine, you're going to take a debuff for a while. While we support options like being a gunslinger who wants to key into destructive weapons, or a rogue who wants to alpha strike their enemies before they know what hit them, we also allow for a lot of fun and experimental builds.
Geil, die haben
You can be a
Vorteile
mad
und Nachteile,
scientist
so
who
gut, ja.
utilizes gadgets and wacky science weapons and armors. Or even a psychopath who gains permanent bonuses to health by murdering their friends.
Nothing shows the impact of these character build options better than, in my opinion, the bridge area, which has a quest you get early on in Paradise Island.
Geil.
Okay, das
war,
klingt alles sehr cool, leider.
Ja,
Not only do you kind of encounter this very early, and it's a very
ich glaube, ich muss auch wieder rein.
Story,
was soll's.
but it really expresses our philosophy of allowing the player to solve problems in a bunch of ways. So you may solve it by, speech options. You may talk to them and maybe have to go do a quest for them and really kind of prove that you're a friend of the Protectorate to get by.
I may have need of your help, stranger, if you are ready to seize an opportunity to show fealty to the Protectorate.
You could go guns blazing and you could just take everyone out inside the POI, lower the bridge itself, and kind of get across. You could sneak in, lower the bridge, and then actually sneak in under the bridge to get over to the other side. You can bypass the bridge entirely if you found like certain gadgets, like the shield gadget that protects you from poison gas as you go across, or the double jump boots, which kind of allow you to jump across the chasm and get across that way. There's even a really kind of messed up way, right? Which is players can actually sacrifice one of their companions. Their companion who they just found is part of.
We're no different than the Vrees if we start tossing our own to the rats. I sure as law ain't gonna follow someone who can't see the wrong in it.
I must admit I'm surprised we could come to an understanding. But I thank you for your loyalty, stranger. As promised, you shall have clearance to cross this bridge.
It's such a fun quest, but again, it really showcases that we want you to be able to solve this in whatever way you want to. When you build your character your way, we're there for you. We really want you to have the experience that you want to have out of this.
From the very beginning of our discussions about the Outer Worlds, we really knew we wanted every game to take place in different colonies. This lets us expand on all aspects of the universe. Every colony can be its own thing with its own flavor, and we can center them around anything we want. Any ideas or setting we're interested in. Arcadia is an isolated colony with abundant resources, and it's run by an authoritarian faction called the Protectorate. Their dictatorship is thematically based around the question of how much freedom people will give up for security and luxury. For Protectorate subjects, unfortunately, that answer is everything. The Protectorate is also incredibly wealthy because it was founded by the inventor of the skip drives, which are the Outer World's faster-than-light engines. But those skip drives are starting to cause rifts in space-time, which are cutting off all the other colonies on Earth from being able to trade with each other. The Order of the Ascendant is an offshoot of the Order of Scientific Inquiry from the original game, and like them are a science-based religion with the same goal of solving the universal equation, which will allow them to predict and alter the future to the benefit of all mankind. They used to be part of the Protectorate, but they split off to focus on solving the equation for the good of everyone, not as a way to simply control the masses. The player's been sent to Arcadia as an Earth Directorate agent to find out how the skip drives are causing the rifts and what can be done to stop them. Each of the factions have their own solutions to the rift problem and their own goals. The Protectorate wants to close them to protect their legacy as the inventor of the drives and their wealth. The Order wants to close them not only for the good of everyone, but also because they're complicating the math they're using to solve the universal equation. And Antes just wants to be able to open and close them at will to control all the trade routes between the colonies. In addition to expanding the themes and lore of the Outer Worlds, we're also expanding the humor, so each faction has its own flavor of absurdity. Anti's Choice is a merger between Anti-Cleo and Spacer's Choice from the original game, and there are corporate representatives in the Outer Worlds too. They've invaded Arcadia to liberate the resources for all of humanity, at a profit.
Oh, Tommy, danke für den Raid!
One of my favorite things from Fallout New Vegas is the radio system. It was just iconic for me, and I wanted to make sure that the Outer Worlds 2 had that. So we actually built out 3 different radio stations, one for each of the major factions.
Der Frank kommt auch gleich wieder.
You also have a ton of music.
Danke dir für den Raid.
Each station might have, like, I think 20 tracks of unique music that we've made for it. It's a lot of stuff. But the really cool part about this entire thing is that we actually put a lot of reactivity into the radio. So it will respond to the things that are going on around the world that you've been interacting with. So if you go into a location, let's say you solve a problem for the Protectorate folks, if you listen to the Protectorate radio station, they're going to be cheering you on as a hero.
Wonderful news, everyone. The Zeranium gas leaks at the Automech repair facility, strongly believed to be caused by Anti's Choice malefactors, have been corrected.
Some hotshot for hire just managed to fix the electrum leak in their repair facility.
Okay, pass auf, wir machen einen Deal. 80 € bei Steam. Wenn es euch zu teuer ist, guckt einfach das Let's Play bei mir. Was?
The factions and companions are great examples of how we're going deeper and more complex this time around. They're integrated into the game's storyline much more than we did on the first Outer Worlds, and like with everything else in the game, they have a lot more reactivity. There are 6 companions in the Outer Worlds too. As usual, each has their own quest lines, but this time they're also connected to a different faction and have character arcs that the player can affect through their choices. Your first companion is Niles. He's another Earth Directorate agent like you, and he's looking for your help to decide whether he wants to become an even better agent or to turn his back on the Earth Directorate completely. There's also a somewhat cute Automech support drone that's basically Niles' helper. Her name is Val.
Fraktion, dies, das.
Marisol's part of the Order of the Ascendant, and she's an aging but still deadly assassin. That's right, she's a deadly mathematician who may or may not have some unfinished business to attend to with the player's help. There's also a cultist named Azza, who is part of a sub-faction that worships the rifts, and in her case, violence in general. You can choose to either turn her away from overt violence or support her chaotic and dangerous tendencies. Now, at one time, Anti's Choice had a program to graft soldiers with animal parts to make them more formidable. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work, and most of them are now dead. There's a combat medic who survived, however, named Inez, and she wants the player to help her fix her graft, among other things. Finally, there's Tristan. He's a Protectorate arbiter who is judge, jury, and executioner all rolled into one heavily armored package. It is your choice to either help him judge wrongdoers or show him what true justice looks like.
We definitely have reactivity in the game based on how you've been treating your companions. I won't reveal the end of the game, but let's say if you have not been treating them well, you will find out at the end of the game what that means.
Companions are a very, very important part of merchandising, because that's the real beauty of the sequel. We're talking merch, baby. It is the lifeblood. It is what fuels us. Do you want to see some of my ideas? Hop, hop. Check this out. Gen Alpha loves body pillows, especially ones that look like human beings for some reason, right? Who needs a significant other when you could have a knife-wielding space psycho up in your sheets, huh? What do they do with them when they get them, huh? Maybe a little napping, maybe a little snuggling, maybe a little... Na.
Das leider sehr gut. Also.
The visuals of the first Outer Worlds depicted a frontier colony in space. The Outer Worlds 2 is driven by an invasion of the Arcadia colony system by Anti's Choice, which shifts the visuals to be more reminiscent of a World War I-like setting in space.
Wirklich sehr gut,
That evolution is seen across all aspects of the game, starting with the factions.
Ich will nicht wieder
How do you
enttäuscht werden.
militarize everything, including extreme capitalists or math-crazed scientists? In a World War I setting, war comes with propaganda.
Wann kommt
The
das raus?
sovereign
Ende
uses
des
it
Jahres,
to maintain control. Anti's choice uses it to help their bottom line. The Order just wants to show how it exists within the grand plan. We want players to feel like Arcadia is a living, breathing place scarred by a long-standing war. Fairfield, one of the first towns you encounter, was once under protectorate control, but has recently been taken over by Anti's choice. They don't just occupy the town, they rebrand it with their signature style, repainting buildings, posting guards, and adding propaganda-based holograms featuring Anti and the Moon Man. Showing the towns evolving after the invasion helps us push immersion for our players. One of our priorities in visually realizing the world of The Outer Worlds 2 was making sure everything is clear and recognizable from the player standpoint. We want to make sure each faction has a particular look and design. So when the player is running across these vast, different environments and landscapes, they're recognizing the motifs and visuals of who they're talking to, what they're going to be talking about, and how that progresses throughout the story. The first Outer Worlds was really about player interfacing with corporations. And while we have that in The Outer Worlds 2, we really want to express not just the corporations, but how the player interacts with other facets of the world, like government entities or religious structures. And then we elaborate on those.
With larger environments, we wanted to encourage exploration by improving player mobility across the board. Now you can run, slide, double jump, mantle and parkour your way through all of the nooks and crannies of these worlds. It really allows the player to just explore and have fun,
das ist ein bisschen wie bei
finding really
Avowed.
cool stuff.
Das finde ich geil. Oh, Mr. Kure, Dankeschön. Vielen Dank und Mulle, Dankeschön. Vielen Dank euch beiden.
Dankeschön.
Dankeschön.
You can make everything in The Outer Worlds 2 better from top to bottom. The RPG elements were the start, but that's
Die
touched
Erkundung bei
our
Avowed
story,
übrigens,
our
die war
art,
wirklich
and
sehr,
especially
sehr
our
geil.
gameplay.
Hat immer Spaß gemacht, du hast immer was
A good
gefunden.
sequel is true to the original. That's
so open
first and
Flaw
foremost,
oder
right?
open
Like we all
world?
want to add in a bunch of things
sind-
as you're
es
making a
sind
sequel,
open
right? We
maps.
want to make it bigger and better in every way. That's
so
what
ein
we're
paar
trying to
Gebiete,
do here.
aber machbar.
And I thought
Ja.
we did not need this consultant.
Ja.
We've made enough sequels. We understand how to do this, and I will say, I don't think it's been entirely successful.
I am very proud of the combat improvements we have made in The Outer
das
Worlds
Double
2
Jump
thanks
ist,
to
glaube ich,
my
von
patented
Schuhen.
combat system. You may be thinking to yourself, it can't be that good. Shush, what are you even talking about? You haven't seen it yet. Watch this. Put a helmet on, because I'm about to blow all of your minds with my COMBAT system, combat system. My name is Mark, I'm the head of sequels. Shall we begin? You're thinking, what's C for? C, capitalize the fact that the people loved the first game. We're gonna take those people, we're gonna make them buy the sequel, giving out pounds, pounds, pounds. Quick ones, ha, ha, not you, Dev. Here we go. What comes after C? O, optimize for player satisfaction. I am terrified of online gamers, okay? I wanna make them happy, so let's, okay? All right. Mobilize the players so they're ready for that sweet,
ist
sweet
echt fantastisch.
pre-order.
Der
Clap with me.
ist so gut.
Sweet, sweet. You don't have rhythm, Brandon, just say it. Sweet, sweet pre-order. Everybody has a different rhythm and it's blowing mine. And here we go. B, burglarize. What is this? It's basically just finding new ways to loot dead bodies. You know what I mean?
Geil.
Right, Otis?
Geil.
Okay, well, it's a big part of the game. A, you gotta agonize about how many people are gonna be angry that we have just put so much combat into this thing and almost no romance at all. We should look at ourselves. What is wrong with us? Huh? We can't have one love story in this? How many people have been in love? Raise your hands. Raise your hand if you're in love. Okay, are you lying?
I have a wife.
Put your hand down. T, trois. In French, that means two. Sequel.
I think that means three.
Okay, you're getting ahead of yourself. Come on, Claire. We're on two. And how do we end it? Anything is possible. And we've established that we're the best there is, and there's no sequel better than us. And if I could just say one more thing, thank you very much. I know I've kind of changed the world of video games today.
For The Outer Worlds 2, we wanted to improve gunplay in every way. We focused on improving the feel of each weapon, the way a weapon snaps into ADS, the way recoil feels when firing, and how impactful our sound effects really sell the weapon's fantasy, to things like how unique reload animation can add a lot of character to each weapon. We've increased the variety of weapons by including new weapon types, but also through a host of fun and unique weaponry. We have things like the Boar Blaster that fires out tumors that can explode like grenades, or can even be eaten by the player for additional health. We have a weapon called Rookie's Reward that will actually level up the more you use it throughout the game. And every time it levels up, it's got fun fanfare where it's like shooting out confetti and it's got a fun little setup. We have a really fun weapon called the pop-up gun. It fires out ad drones that will distract your enemies with corporate ads, slogans, and jingles. While your enemies are distracted, you can focus fire on them or explode these drones for additional damage. New to the Outer Worlds 2 are throwables. So you can use frag grenades to flush out enemies, smoke grenades to camouflage and escape, distraction devices to bait enemies into a stealth attack, and even science grenades that will levitate enemies, allowing you to fire upon them while they float helplessly.
Das finde ich geil.
Yo.
And of course, science weapons are back. We have returning favorites, like the shrink ray. This time it's been upgraded, so you can shrink your enemy down to the size of a sprat and run over them, exploding them into bits.
Yeah.
The shrink ray, that was probably my favorite one from the first game, so we brought it into the second game, but we improved it though. So instead of shrinking your enemies for a short period of time and having them re-expand, this time they stay shrunk, and we actually added in the ability to step on them and kind of squish them and kick them, because we knew that was the player fantasy. We knew that's what everybody wanted to do. They wanted to step on the enemies, they wanted to kick them, so we made sure to double down on that stuff.
In addition to things like our returning favorites, we also have some really fun and unique new science weapons.
Yeah.
One of them is called the Armageddon. This one's really cool because it actually shoots out these masses that are like these little arms that will stick to people or cover or all kinds of different things, and they will continue to just hit them until they get destroyed. And we have another one that's just super cool called the Spectrum Dance Saber. This is a melee weapon that actually lets you attack to a musical beat. And if you continue to do that, you'll actually get additional bonuses each hit you do. One of my personal favorite weapons is called the Big Bang. This is a big freaking gun that uses material harvested from rifts to shoot out a giant ball of energy, pricing everything in its path. Now, ammo's extremely rare for this weapon, but you can use it in just the right situation to devastating effects.
Geil.
Like another great one is Gary. If you wear Gary, he will lash out at your opponents as you're walking through combat. So we even have science armors, and we've really kind of shown off what we thought was really great for the player from a science perspective.
We're all about letting people play the game their way. There are some players who prefer to be immersed in a first-person view, taking in all of the details. But there are others who really prefer to take the world in from a third-person perspective. Why not allow both? Well, now you can swap between the two, letting you enjoy the experience in whatever way you like.
Das ist cool.
One of the things I really like about having the third-person mode is being able to see all of the fun and unique armors and armor combinations and weapons that you can equip your player with. All of the actions that you could do in first person, so you're double jumping around, you get to see your character in that way, and you get to take in the world and see things in a different light.
Schön.
Das ist sehr cool.
The Outer Worlds 2 is really the biggest game we've ever made. Bigger choices,
Verdammt, je mehr ich davon sehe, desto mehr mag ich.
Desto mehr Angst habe ich aber auch enttäuscht zu werden.
The team has done incredible work bringing the Outer Worlds 2 to life. And we can't wait for you to play it.
Even though we've always been a multi-project studio, this is going to be the first time we've ever released 3 games in 1 year. It feels amazing to do. We're so excited for more people to be playing our games. It is truly an exciting time here at Obsidian. We're exploring worlds big and small while expanding on franchises that we've created, and we have no plans to slow down. We hope you all continue to come along with us as we do what we do best, make your worlds your way.
Das ist schon eine extrem gute Präsentation gerade. Die ist irre gut. Ich bin richtig sold. Ich will's.
Ich freue mich schon drauf, aus Versehen Dinge zu klauen.
Ja, so gut. Einfach nur, oh nein. Ja.
Okay, geil. Geile Präse.
Ja.
With the Outer Worlds 2, we're all about the best place to play, which is also the promise of
Aber wir müssen
Xbox.
rüberschalten gleich, ne?
Ja.
You can play the Outer Worlds 2 on this Xbox,
glaube, oder?
but it may be hard to play it when you're staring at all these beautiful holes. Let's cut that You can play The Outer Worlds 2 on this Xbox. No, yeah. Now that's Microsoft. Or you can take a phone call on this Xbox, then play The Outer Worlds 2 right after. Excuse me, I'm getting a call. Hello? What am I doing? I'm playing The Outer Worlds. Hello? Yeah, this is Mark. I didn't know I had jury duty today. You could play The Outer Worlds 2 on this Xbox, but it takes 2 people to lug around safely. We're gonna go up to my apartment, okay? And this is an Xbox you actually wear that also plays The Outer Worlds 2. What do you think, Claire?
This is amazing.
Are you playing?
I think so.
Fantastic. So now this is actually not an Xbox, so you cannot play The Outer Worlds 2 on it. Can't play anything on this. I guess Bread. You ever play Bread where you take it out of one slot, put it in the other? I don't have friends. If you pre-order the premium edition now, you'll get early access, which is like a prequel to the sequel, or is launch the sequel to the pre-order, or like, why are any of us alive at any time? It doesn't matter. Either way, my job here is done. It's time for the Grounded 2 portion of the Direct, which is sort of like the sequel to the Outer Worlds 2 portion of the Direct, which I absolutely just hit a home run with. You know, it's really nice to see my influence go on to other games. Ja. Take it away, team.
Ey, der Typ war...
Er war großartig. Er war wirklich
And
großartig.
Big Exit?
Absolut
sehr,
geil.
sehr geil.